Chapter 1743. After all, Kang State was just a small place in the vast Yuan continent. It was located in the distant Sea mountain range with Cloud State and Emperor State. Most people in Kang State did not know how big this world was or how many powerful factions there were outside of Kang State. In their eyes, the Kang the Arch was the most powerful existence in the world. The evil spirit sect had dozens of emperor-level cultivators, so they naturally thought that the evil spirit sect was the most terrifying faction in Yuan continent. That was normal. Before Lu Ming went to the 100-race battlefield, he did not expect that there were so many emperor-level factions in Yuan continent. I can't go on like this. I don't know how long I have to fly. I have to find a teleportation array, or it will be too slow. Lu Ming pondered. However, only emperor-level factions could build teleportation arrays in Yuan continent. Let's go down and find out which emperor-level faction this is. Lu Ming had a plan. He put away the flying shuttle, stepped on the air, and landed in a big city. This is the Blood Jade State, which is ruled by the Blood Jade Palace. Isn't Shu Ran a disciple of the Blood Jade Palace? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Lu Ming and Shu Ran had gotten to know each other after fighting in the 100-race battlefield. In the end, they had a feeling of mutual appreciation and had a good relationship. Later on, Shu Ran was captured by the natives of the 100-race battlefield, and it was Lu Ming who saved him. Before they parted, Shu Ran had also invited Lu Ming to come to the Blood Jade Palace to find him when he was free. Since this was the Blood Jade Palace's territory, he could find Shu Ran and borrow the Blood Jade Palace's teleportation array to go to the ancient moon sacred ground. Lu Ming immediately asked about the direction of the Blood Jade Palace. Lu Ming flew there. Half a day later, Lu Ming arrived outside the Blood Jade Palace and sent a message to Shu Ran. Not long after, he saw Shu Ran flying out of the Blood Jade Palace. Haha, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to really come looking for me. Shu Ran laughed and was rather surprised. Shu Ran, you've broken through to the Saint stage. Congratulations. Lu Ming sized up Shu Ran and smiled faintly. What's there to congratulate? I'm afraid you've already become a saint, haven't you? Shu Ran sized up Lu Ming and discovered that he could not see through Lu Ming's cultivation at all. I broke through to the Saint realm not long ago. Lu Ming smiled. I knew it. You must have broken through to the Saint realm. Oh right, aren't you in the Kang continent? Why did he suddenly come to the Blood Jade Palace? It can't be that he came here just to see me, right? Shu Ran smiled. It's a long story. Lu Ming sighed and said, the evil spirit sect has risen from the ashes. The remnants of the evil spirit sect have already occupied Kang State, Emperor State, and Cloud State. I was forced to run away. What? Evil spirit? Shu Ran's expression changed. Shu Ran, how much do you know about evil spirit sect? Lu Ming asked. Shu Ran was from an emperor-level faction, so he might know more about evil spirit sect than him. I'm not very sure either. I only know that evil spirit sect appeared out of nowhere 80,000 years ago. They have a sect master, 2 vice-sect masters, and 36 law emperors. They are all emperor-level figures and are extremely powerful. Moreover, they specialize in killing emperor-level experts and prodigies with the potential to become emperors. In the ancient Moon Holy Land, many factions paled at the mention of it. Most importantly, evil spirit sect is good at controlling people, so they are stronger than they appear on the surface. Back then, many powerful factions of the ancient Moon Holy Land joined forces to eliminate evil spirit sect. I didn't expect evil spirit sect to rise from the ashes and do evil again. Shu Ran frowned. I'm here to go to the ancient Moon Holy Land and ask the powerful factions of the ancient Moon Holy Land to eliminate the remnants of evil spirit sect. Lu Ming said. Oh, it just so happens that I'm going to the ancient Moon Holy Land soon. We can go together. However, Lu Ming, don't have too much hope about asking for help from the ancient Moon Holy Land. Shu Ran said. Why? Since evil spirit sect was so dangerous, how could the powerful factions of the ancient Moon Holy Land ignore it? The ancient Moon Holy Land is divided. Although there are many powerful factions, the competition between them is extremely fierce. They probably have no time to care about other things and may not send many Emperor-level figures to help you. Back then, it was also because evil spirit sect angered the powerful factions of the ancient Moon Holy Land that they were besieged by them, Shu Ran said. So that's how it is. Lu Ming frowned. He also understood that all factions prioritized their own interests. As long as their own interests were not harmed, they would not interfere. But no matter how difficult it was, he still had to try. If he could ask the powerful factions of the ancient Moon Holy Land to help, he would be able to rescue Valley Master Cloud Dragon and the others sooner. Lu Ming, you don't have to be discouraged. I will report this matter to the higher-ups. I can't decide what they will do, Shu Ran said. Many thanks. Lu Ming cupped his fists. It's just a small matter. Lu Ming, let's go. Stay in Bloodjade Palace for a few days. After 2 days, I will go with you to the ancient Moon Holy Land, Shu Ran said. Lu Ming nodded and entered Bloodjade Palace with Shu Ran. Shu Ran's status in Bloodjade Palace was very high. After arranging a courtyard for Lu Ming, he went to report the matter of evil spirit sect. 2 days later, Shu Ran came to find Lu Ming and said that he had already reported the matter of evil spirit sect. Bloodjade Palace's martial emperor already knew, but he did not know what the martial emperor would do. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, only a martial emperor could interfere in this matter. As for how the martial emperor would decide, they could not interfere. Lu Ming, let's go to the ancient Moon Holy Land. Recently, I heard that the Jade Lake Saintess of the ancient Moon Holy Land has appeared and intends to choose a Dao protector. The prodigies of the various factions around the ancient Moon Holy Land have already moved. During this period, the ancient Moon Holy Land will probably be very lively, Shu Ran said with an expectant look. Jade Lake Saintess? Lu Ming was puzzled. He knew nothing about the ancient Moon Holy Land. Yes, the Jade Lake is a very special force. They are all women, and each of them is an outstanding beauty. Especially the saintesses, they are as beautiful as fairies. Every 20 years, the Jade Lake will produce a batch of saintesses. This time, there are a total of 9 saintesses. It is said that each of them is as beautiful as a fairy, like a goddess who has descended to the mortal world. Moreover, they are extremely talented and have profound cultivation. If they can become a Dao protector, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing? Shu Ran's eyes were already shining as he spoke. Lu Ming smiled slightly. How could he be in the mood to look at beauties now? Immediately, Lu Ming and Shu Ran walked toward Bloodjade Palace's teleportation array. Stepping into the teleportation array, they left Bloodjade Palace. Not long after, they appeared in an ancient city. This was not the ancient Moon Holy Land, but an ancient city outside the ancient Moon Holy Land. The various Emperor-level factions could not teleport directly into the ancient Moon Holy Land. They could only teleport to the ancient city outside the ancient Moon Holy Land and then set off from the ancient city to the ancient Moon Holy Land. Lu Ming and Shu Ran did not stay in the ancient city and flew directly to the ancient Moon Holy Land. Chapter 1744. At the peak of the tallest mountain stood an enormous stone tablet that was 30,000 meters tall. There were mysterious runes circulating on the stone tablet, and it emitted a screen of light that divided the heavens and the earth into 2 halves, isolating them from the outside world. That's the boundary stele. The ancient Moon Holy Ground is a cultivation holy ground with rich origin chi. Legend has it that a long time ago, the powerful forces of the ancient Moon Holy Ground worked together to create 108 boundary steles and place them around the ancient Moon Holy Ground to isolate it from the outside world. This is to prevent the origin chi from leaking out and affecting the ancient Moon Holy Ground. Shu Ran seemed to know the ancient Moon Holy Ground very well. Seeing Lu Ming's confusion, he explained. The boundary stele can only isolate the origin chi of heaven and earth. It won't hinder living beings from entering and exiting. Let's go in. Shu Ran continued. The 2 of them stepped into the air. When they passed through the light curtain, there was no obstruction at all. The light curtain rippled like water as the 2 of them passed through. Such rich origin chi. Once they passed through the light curtain, Lu Ming felt that the origin qi inside the light curtain was several times richer than outside. Moreover, the comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth seemed to be clearer here. As expected of a cultivation holy ground, the cultivation environment is so much better than outside. Separated by a light curtain, it's a completely different world. Lu Ming exclaimed in surprise. The ancient moon holy ground's territory is vast, larger than many large provinces. However, the forces that can establish their own sects and take root in the ancient moon holy ground are extremely powerful forces. Without strength, it's impossible to gain a foothold in such a holy ground. For example, the emperor-level forces outside the holy ground are not qualified to establish their own sects in the ancient moon holy ground. Because of their lack of strength, they will be expelled by the powerful forces of the ancient moon holy ground, Xu Ran said. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. If even emperor-level forces couldn't establish their own sects in the ancient moon holy ground, then how strong was the ancient moon holy ground? Xu Ran had been to the ancient moon holy ground before and was familiar with the place. He led the way as the two chatted. Not long after, a vast expanse of buildings appeared in front of them. Although he was far away, Lu Ming could still see that there were people coming and going among the buildings. It was very lively. This is one of the buildings in the ancient moon holy ground. There are many powerful forces in the ancient moon holy ground. There are many disciples and cultivators from outside the ancient moon holy ground. These people will gather here to buy treasures and other things. It's very lively, Xu Ran said. Lu Ming nodded. This building complex was like a city. It was just that there were no city walls. The two of them flew forward and landed. They discovered that the streets here were crisscrossed with shops like a forest. The two of them strolled along the streets. So many experts. Lu Ming swept his gaze and was secretly shocked. He found Saint Chi Lin Ming Chi said people. Each and every one of them had a strong aura, and their blood was like fire. Saint might filled the air, and many of them were actually saints. Even if the others were not sages, they were at least half sages. The weakest among them was a high-ranked martial monarch. Saints were considered experts in Kang State, but here, they could be seen everywhere. 1. Lu Ming sighed. There were many powerful sects in the ancient Moon Holy Land, and there were probably countless saints in these sects. After all, there were 13 top sects in the Kang State, as well as many small and medium-sized forces. Adding them all together, there were quite a number of saint stage experts. However, even if the entire Kang State was added together, it still wouldn't be able to match up to an emperor-level force. However, any force in the ancient Moon Holy Land was much stronger than an emperor-level force. One could only imagine how many saints there were. In addition, outside of the ancient Moon Holy Ground, many emperor-level forces had sent masters to the ancient Moon Holy Ground. It was not surprising that there were many masters here. Lu Ming found that even the waiter standing in front of the shop was a half-saint, which made Lu Ming speechless. So many sacred weapons. After browsing through a few shops, Lu Ming discovered that the items being sold outside were all sage weapons. There were even great sage weapons and paramount sage weapons. There were also all kinds of precious treasures, which dazzled Lu Ming. Lu Ming asked around in a shop if there were any paramount sage true dragon bones or paramount sage true dragon blood essence. He didn't expect that there would be such things, but the price was ridiculously high. Lu Ming had once killed 2 paramount sage experts in the Sky Universe Demon sect with the reincarnation halberd and obtained their storage rings. He was quite rich, but he found that he couldn't afford paramount sage true dragon bones and paramount sage true dragon blood essence. It was too expensive. True dragons, even among the thousands of divine beasts, stood at the top of the pyramid. Moreover, they were very rare, especially those at the paramount sage level. Naturally, their prices were shockingly high. Lu Ming was speechless. He thought that he was quite rich, but when he came to the ancient Moon Holy Land, he found that he had become a pauper. In the end, Lu Ming bought some spiritual liquid to water the enlightenment ancient tree. Then, he and Xu Ran found an inn to stay in. They would settle down here first, and then find an opportunity to meet the powerful forces of the ancient Moon Holy Land. Lu Ming thought of Huang Ling and Yi Dongfang. They were in the ancient Moon Holy Land, but the ancient Moon Holy Land was very big. He had just arrived and didn't know where their sects were. It was too far away, and it was difficult to send a message. Lu Ming, in 7 days, the Jade Lake Saintess will appear and look for a protector. At that time, there will be many geniuses. Maybe you can meet Yi Dongfang and the others. This was Xu Ran's suggestion. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, even if he didn't meet Huang Ling and the others, as long as he met someone he knew from the 100-tribe battlefield, things would be much easier. After entering the room of the inn, Lu Ming entered the mountain river diagram. With a flash of light, Bubble rushed into Lu Ming's arms. Big brother Lu Ming, Bubble is so bored here. Chirp chirp. Bubbles pouted her little mouth and said, Bubble, be good. I'll take you out in a few days. Lu Ming patted Bubbles' little head. Okay. Chirp chirp. Bubbles jumped up happily and skipped to the side to cultivate. Lu Ming came to the Enlightenment ancient tree and sat down cross-legged. Then, a saint weapon appeared in his hand. It was a great saint weapon. He planned to cultivate the 10,000 weapon art. During this period, Lu Ming had been focused on comprehending the chaotic finger of calamity. He had neglected the 10,000 weapon art. In the Kang state, he had obtained the storage rings of several absolute saints. There were many great saint weapons in them, and they could be sealed in the acupuncture points of his body. Lu Ming didn't plan to seal ordinary great saint weapons into his body for the time being. After all, the improvement was limited. If he wanted to seal something, he would seal a great saint weapon. Lu Ming's body glowed as he began to seal the great saint weapons. Great saint weapons were powerful, but the burden on the body was also very heavy. Chapter 1745. Buzz. A meridian on Lu Ming's body shone brightly like a small sun. Then, the great sage weapon flew into the meridian. Immediately, over 100 spots of light lit up on Lu Ming's body. One could vaguely see a great sage weapon floating in each spot of light. The battle weapon chi of over 100 great sage weapons connected, forming a powerful pressure. Lu Ming felt his meridian swell. If his physical body wasn't strong enough, it would have exploded. Fortunately, Lu Ming's physical body was strong enough to withstand it. Slowly, the great sage weapon was sealed in his meridian, connecting with the other great sage weapons. 2 great sage weapons, but it's still not enough. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He had already sealed 1 great sage weapon before. Adding this one, he had 2 in total. However, Lu Ming felt that he hadn't reached his limit yet. He could still continue sealing. Next, Lu Ming took out another great sage weapon and began sealing. Time passed in the blink of an eye. 7 days passed. Lu Ming sealed a total of 4 great sage weapons before he felt that his physical body had reached its limit. After that, he wholeheartedly cultivated the primal chaos tribulation finger. Cultivating a divine ability could improve one's comprehension of the laws. As the divine ability improved, so would one's comprehension of the laws. Lu Ming naturally wouldn't slack off. After a month on the flying shuttle and a few days of cultivation, his mastery of the primal chaos tribulation finger had deepened. It had already reached 15% mastery. Don't look down on 5% mastery. If a complete law was divided into 100 portions, it would be equivalent to increasing it by 5 portions. Its power would also increase by a large margin. With every bit of mastery, the power of a divine ability would increase. At this time, the Jade Lake pageant began. Lu Ming and his companion headed in the direction of the Jade Lake. It wasn't just them. Many people in the building complex were heading in that direction. Many of them were young geniuses. It was clear how attractive the Jade Lake Saintess was. Soon, they arrived at a large lake. The lake water was clear, like a mirror embedded in the ground. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, they discovered that there were already many people walking on the surface of the lake. They are all top-notch geniuses. Lu Ming scanned the crowd and found that all the geniuses had extremely strong auras. Their chi and blood were like fire, and their spirit bodies were extremely powerful. Many of them were actually heavenly spiritual bodies, and their cultivation had basically reached the saint realm. So many geniuses. Is the Jade Lake Saintess so charming that she can attract so many geniuses? Lu Ming was very surprised. Among cultivators and martial arts cultivators, there were some who liked beauty. However, most people still focused on martial arts and were obsessed with cultivation. After all, the higher one's cultivation, the longer one's lifespan would be. When one reached the imperial level, one would have an almost endless lifespan. This was what many people pursued. But now, the birth of the Jade Lake Saintess had attracted so many geniuses. This was a little strange. Almost all of them are geniuses from Emperor-level forces outside of the ancient moon sacred ground. These people came here for more than just beauty. Needless to say, the beauty of the Jade Lake Saintess has attracted countless geniuses. But more importantly, they are here for the resources of the Jade Lake. Each of the Jade Lake Saintesses is devastatingly beautiful. Therefore, since ancient times, they have attracted many powerful geniuses to become the protectors of the Jade Lake Saintess. Many of these geniuses have achieved great things in the future. Many of them have even become emperors. These people have left behind many cultivation experiences and ancient scriptures in the Jade Lake. There are thousands of laws in the world, but the Jade Lake is said to contain the cultivation experiences and divine powers of 50% of the world's laws. Many of these geniuses have come for these cultivation experiences and ancient scriptures. Shu Ran explained. Lu Ming was enlightened. Cultivation experiences and divine powers that contain 50% of the world's laws. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. If this was true, it would be too terrifying. In that case, did the Jade Lake have the cultivation experiences and divine powers of the 10 supreme laws? There are so many people here today. A cold voice resounded. A young man in a golden robe with a luxurious aura stepped through the air and stood above the crowd. The genius of the ancient moon sacred grounds Wan clan, Wan Tianlong, someone exclaimed as they recognized the young man. Wan clan. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Previously, in the 100 clan battlefield, he had killed a genius from the Wan clan, Wan Tiancheng. He had also obtained the Wan clan's secret skill, the 10,000 weapon art. Wan Tianlong's eyes were cold and arrogant. With his hands behind his back, he looked at the other geniuses with disdain. Isn't he just from a sacred ground force? What's there to be arrogant about? Near Lu Ming, a red-haired young man muttered unhappily. He looked at Wan Tianlong with battle intent in his eyes. Many of the geniuses who had come here were from Emperor-level forces. Most of them were the strongest geniuses in their respective Emperor-level forces. After all, a heavenly spiritual body was extremely rare even in Emperor-level forces. For example, Cloud Emperor Mountain did not have a heavenly spiritual body. These geniuses were usually high and mighty. Naturally, they were arrogant. Now that Wan Tianlong was standing on top of their heads and looking down at them coldly, naturally, many of them were not happy about it. Shush. At this moment, a resplendent sword light shot over rapidly. The sword light receded, revealing a young man in a grey robe. He carried a battle sword on his back. His entire body radiated a sharp aura, as if he was a divine sword. It's the genius of the Great Baron Sword Sect, one of the most powerful forces in the ancient moon sacred ground. Someone recognized the young man's identity. Geniuses from the powerful forces in the ancient moon sacred ground began to arrive. Then, a bolt of lightning flashed and a young man in a lightning robe appeared. Someone recognized him as the genius of the Thunder God sect. Yi Dongfang is from the Thunder God sect. It's a pity that Yi Dongfang is not here. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Caw, caw. At that moment, 2 long cries were heard. 2 rays of golden light shot over at an alarming speed. In the next moment, the golden light disappeared and 2 huge 3-legged golden crows appeared in the sky. The geniuses of the Golden Crow clan. Many people's faces changed and became solemn. The Golden Crow clan was undoubtedly a terrifying force. Even among the many powerful forces in the ancient moon sacred ground, it was one of the most powerful and terrifying. Within the Golden Crow clan, there were many geniuses. In every generation, there would be many geniuses. The two three-legged golden crows looked around and then turned into two young men in golden robes. The 10th Golden Crow Prince. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold light. One of them was the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Judging from his aura, he had broken through to the Saint Realm and was more than the initial Bright Saint Realm. The other person's aura was even more terrifying than the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Based on the discussions around him, that person was the 9th Golden Crow Prince. Lu Ming. The 10th Golden Crow Prince looked around and finally fixed his gaze on Lu Ming. A cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. Chapter 1746. 10th Brother, what's wrong? The Golden Crow 9th Prince also looked at Lu Ming. Nothing, I just met an ant. I'll find a chance to deal with it myself, the Golden Crow 10th Prince said. The Golden Crow 9th Prince nodded and did not say anything else. Shu Ran, it's you. Haha, I didn't expect a trash like you to come to Jade Pool. Suddenly, a disdainful voice sounded behind Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and Shu Ran turned back and saw a purple-robed youth with his hands behind his back. He was looking at Shu Ran with contempt. Tuoba Fei, you're here too. Shu Ran's face darkened. Of course I'm here. I'm destined to be the Tao protector of Jade Pool. But you, a trash who isn't even a heaven spirit body, came to Jade Pool. Do you want to be a Tao protector too? You're really a toad lusting after a swan's meat. Why don't you look at yourself in your piss? Tuoba Fei sneered and his disdain deepened. Shu Ran's face flushed red and was extremely ugly. He wanted to refute, but his talent was indeed far inferior to the other party and he could not do so. Shu Ran, what's going on? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Shu Ran. This person is a paragon of an emperor-level force and is close to Blood Jade Palace. The two forces often have conflict. Shu Ran gave a simple explanation. Lu Ming understood immediately. It was obvious that Blood Jade Palace and Tuoba Fei's force had a grudge against each other. Now that they met, Tuoba Fei would naturally take the initiative to attack Shu Ran. What's wrong? Why aren't you talking? Am I wrong? A trash who isn't even a heaven spirit body should stay in Blood Jade Palace obediently. You'll only embarrass yourself in the ancient moon sacred ground. Tuoba Fei continued to sneer. Shu Ran clenched his fists and the veins on his face throbbed. He wanted to fight the other party and wash away his shame, but he knew very well that he was no match for the other party. Where did this mad dog come from? It's annoying to hear him barking here. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke indifferently. Shu Ran was slightly stunned. As for Tuoba Fei, his face darkened and his eyes narrowed as he looked at Lu Ming. Kid, who are you calling a mad dog? I'm talking about who? Lu Ming smiled. A cold murderous intent flashed in Tuoba Fei's eyes as he said, Kid, do you know that you have to pay a price for saying certain words? Some prices are beyond your ability to bear. The mad dog is about to bite. Lu Ming said indifferently. Brat, you're courting death. Tuoba Fei's eyes turned even colder. He took a step forward and a powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Great success of Bright Saint. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Tuoba Fei's cultivation had reached the great mastery of the Bright Saint realm, and he had the heaven spiritual body. No wonder he was so arrogant and didn't put Shu Ran in his eyes. If he was in the Kang state, he could easily crush a god's son. Jade Lake has appeared. Suddenly, a cry of surprise spread throughout the entire area. Wang. Ripples appeared in the sky as a magnificent palace appeared out of nowhere. The palaces were endless, as if they were floating in the void. Apart from the palaces at the front that could be seen clearly, the palaces at the back were blurry, as if they were immortal palaces. Jade Lake had another name, the Jade Lake Immortal Palace. The appearance of the Jade Lake Immortal Palace attracted everyone's attention, including Tuoba Fei's. Kid, I'll let you go for now. Tuoba Fei said coldly as he glanced at the Jade Lake Immortal Palace. Lu Ming let out a faint smile. At that instant, the door of the Jade Lake Immortal Palace opened and a woman in a palace robe walked out. The woman seemed to be in her 40s, but she was still attractive and had a graceful figure. She must have been a beauty when she was young. The Saintess of the Jade Lake has appeared today. Thank you all for coming. The woman's voice echoed throughout the area. I'm sure you all know that the Saintess of the Jade Lake has the intention of choosing a protector to support each other in the future. Of course, whether you can become a protector or not depends on your own fate. The woman in the palace robe continued. None of the geniuses made a sound. They waited patiently. They were waiting for the Saintess of the Jade Lake to appear. There are 9 Saintesses of the Jade Lake in this generation. I'll let them come out now. The woman in the palace robe waved her hand, and ripples appeared in the sky again. Then, pavilions appeared out of nowhere and floated in the air. In each pavilion, there was a jade table with dishes and wine placed on top of it. Beside each jade table sat a pitilessly beautiful woman. 9 pavilions, 9 jade tables, 9 beauties. Each of them was as beautiful as a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. Each of them had a different temperament. So beautiful. Not far away, Tuoba Fei's eyes were wide open, and there was a burning flame in his eyes. Not only him, but many others were the same. The Saintesses of the Jade Lake were indeed beautiful. Each of them was a rare beauty in the world. What was even rarer was that each of the Saintesses of the Jade Lake had rare martial arts talent and a high cultivation level. However, what surprised Lu Ming was not the beauty of the 9 Saintesses. Although the 9 Saintesses were beautiful, Xian Yanqing was definitely better than them. What surprised Lu Ming was their talents. All of them were heavenly spiritual bodies. This shocked Lu Ming. Some emperor-level forces did not even have a heavenly spiritual body. However, the Jade Lake Divine Palace had 9 of them, and each of them was a rare beauty. Is this the power of the ancient moon sacred ground? It's amazing. Lu Ming muttered. 9 pavilions, 9 Saintesses. Today, whoever can climb to the top of the pavilion will be able to drink wine and discuss martial arts with the Saintesses of the Jade Lake. The woman in the palace robe spoke again, and many people's eyes shone with passion. There were only 9 pavilions and 9 beauties, but there were so many geniuses present. Not only could one climb to the top of the pavilion to drink with the beauties, but it was also an honor. Who is willing to come up here to drink wine with my sister? A crisp voice rang out from the first pavilion. The woman beside the jade table stood up and waved her hand. A jade ladder extended from the pavilion and landed on the lake. Haha, then let me go first. WN Tianlong, the genius of the WN clan, stepped out and landed on the jade ladder. He then walked up the jade ladder. Many people's eyes fell on WN Tianlong, including the 2 princes of the Golden Crow clan, the geniuses of the Thunder God sect, the Great Baron Sword sect, and the other powerful forces of the ancient moon sacred ground. However, these geniuses did not move. There were 9 pavilions, so they were not in a hurry. I've also taken a liking to this pavilion. Please go down. A deep voice sounded. Near Lu Ming and the rest, a young man with fiery red hair took a step forward and landed on the jade ladder. His entire body was emitting terrifying flames. Get lost. WN Tianlong's eyes shone coldly. A light spot lit up in his palm and a great sage weapon battle sword appeared. He slashed at the red-haired youth. Raging flames burned the sky. Chapter 1747. The fiery-haired young man's combat strength was terrifying. His cultivation had reached the great success stage of the Bright Saint realm, and he had an inferior heaven spiritual body. What surprised Lu Ming even more was that the young man had used a divine power art. Such a peerless genius from an emperor-level force was terrifying. He had comprehended a divine power art at the great success stage of the Bright Saint realm. In the Kang state, many old monsters who had reached the great success stage of the Bright Saint realm for tens of thousands of years had yet to comprehend a divine power art. Although such a genius had the same cultivation as the god's son, he could kill the god's son in one move. Boom! WN Tianlong's battle sword slashed the fiery light pillar, causing a terrifying vibration. The fiery-haired young man's body shook, and he was forced to retreat. You dare to use a divine power art at 10% completion against me? You're overestimating yourself. WN Tianlong said coldly. Light spots lit up on his body. There were a total of 36 light spots, and a saint weapon flew out from each light spot. However, they were all bright saint weapons. In addition to his previous Great Saint weapon, there were a total of 37 Saint weapons. The chi of the battle weapons gathered, forming a terrifying sword chi that slashed towards the fiery-haired young man. The fiery-haired young man roared, and used a divine power art again, blasting out a fiery pillar. However, this time, the fiery pillar was split apart by the sword chi. The sword chi did not stop, and continued to slash towards the fiery-haired young man. The fiery-haired young man was shocked, and he quickly retreated. However, it was too late. His body was split into two by the sword chi, and he turned into two balls of fire. He retreated quickly, and with great difficulty, he merged back into his human form. However, his face was pale, and his aura was weak. Although his spiritual body was a flame spiritual body, he was still severely injured by the sword chi. Wn Tianlong sneered, and with the saint weapons around him, he continued to climb up the jade stairs. No one came forward to compete with Wan Tianlong. Wan Tianlong was too strong. The fiery-haired young man was already strong enough, but he was still unable to withstand Wan Tianlong's sword chi, and was severely injured. Moreover, no one knew how much of Wan Tianlong's strength was used. Anyway, there were still 8 pavilions, and there was no need to compete with Wan Tianlong. Wan Tianlong successfully stepped onto the pavilion, and the jade stairs under the pavilion disappeared automatically. "Sir, please take a seat." The Jade Lake Saintess in the pavilion smiled and poured wine for Wan Tianlong personally, making many people envious. "Saintess, please." Wan Tianlong waved his hand and sat down at the jade table with the Jade Lake Saintess. At this moment, the Jade Lake Saintess in the second pavilion stood up. She also waved her hand, and a jade ladder was formed. "Which hero would like to come up and drink with this little sister?" A pleasant voice rang out. "Let me accompany you for a drink." The genius of the Thunder God sect smiled. His figure moved like a bolt of lightning. In the next moment, he appeared on the jade staircase. After which, he swept his gaze in all directions and said, "Is there anyone who wants to compete with me? If not, then this cup of wine belongs to this lady. I'll take you on." A voice rang out as a genius stepped onto the jade staircase. At the same time, a spear light burst forth, piercing through the air and piercing towards the genius of the Thunder God sect. This young man's battle prowess was definitely not weaker than the red-haired young man from before. Hand of lightning punishment. The genius of the Thunder God sect struck out with his palm. Boundless lightning flashed, forming a gigantic lightning palm print that blasted towards the young man. Boom! The spear light shattered. The young man was unable to resist and was directly blasted down the jade staircase. His body was charred black, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. He was severely injured in one move. What terrifying battle prowess! Many people gasped in shock. Was this the strength of the genius of the ancient moon sacred ground? His battle prowess was too strong. He could easily crush the geniuses of the other Emperor-level forces. Their spiritual bodies are of the same level, but their cultivation is stronger. Their superpowers are more advanced. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. He could see that regardless of whether it was Wan Tianlong or the genius of the Thunder God sect, their cultivation had most likely reached the peak of the Bright Sage realm. Although their spiritual bodies were still inferior heaven spiritual bodies, their superpowers were more advanced. With a higher cultivation base, coupled with a more advanced Abhijna technique, he could easily crush the other prodigies. Many geniuses from the other Emperor-level forces turned pale. If the geniuses of the ancient moon sacred ground were all so powerful, what chance did they have? The genius of the Thunder God sect displayed his powerful strength. No one dared to compete with him. He stepped onto the pavilion easily and drank with the Jade Lake Saintess. Then, the Saintess of the third pavilion formed a jade ladder just like before. This time, with a flash of golden light, the Golden Crow Ninth Prince stepped onto the jade ladder. The Golden Crow Ninth Prince was extremely arrogant. He looked around and no one dared to challenge him. The Golden Crow clan was extremely powerful. The Golden Crow Ninth Prince's aura was oppressive. No one dared to challenge him. He stepped onto the third pavilion easily. Then, another genius of the ancient moon sacred ground stepped onto the fourth pavilion. This force was called the Ziji sect. The genius of the Ziji sect was also extremely powerful. He severely injured a genius who went up to compete with him in one move and stepped into the pavilion. Then, in the fifth pavilion, the youth with a battle sword on his back from the Great Baron Sword sect stepped onto the jade ladder. I don't believe that the geniuses of the ancient moon sacred ground are all so powerful. This pavilion is mine. A youth shouted and rushed onto the jade ladder. He wanted to compete with the genius of the Great Baron Sword sect. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out. Then, everyone saw a flash of sword light. Then, the youth who went up to compete frantically retreated until he was thousands of meters away. He stood motionless in mid-air. In the next moment, a bloody mark appeared between the youth's eyebrows. Then, his body split into two and fell into the lake below. Dead. A genius with a heavenly spiritual body was killed just like that. Everyone only saw a flash of sword light. How terrifying. The genius of the Great Baron Sword sect looked cold and expressionless. He stepped onto the platform. No one dared to compete with him. He successfully stepped into the pavilion. There were already 5 pavilions that had been occupied by people. Then, the 6th and 7th pavilions were all occupied by the geniuses of the ancient moon sacred ground. The geniuses of the emperor-level forces outside the ancient moon sacred ground did not step onto any of the pavilions. At this moment, everyone's gazes were cast towards the last 2 pavilions. There were only 2 left. Moreover, almost all of the geniuses of the ancient moon sacred ground had stepped onto the pavilions. The remaining geniuses did not seem that strong. For example, the 10th prince of the Golden Crow. When the jade ladder appeared on the 8th pavilion, a few figures rushed up at the same time. One of them was the 10th prince of the Golden Crow. Scram! The 10th prince of the Golden Crow was extremely domineering. His body was covered in the flames of the sun. The 10th prince of the Golden Crow was in the greater bright sage realm. You're the one who should scram. The others were not weak either. They unleashed their cultivation and fought with the 10th prince of the Golden Crow. In an instant, they were evenly matched in the battle. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Then, another 5 or 6 figures rushed up the jade ladder. This made the battle even more intense. This was the most intense battle. The geniuses who had stepped onto the jade ladder were too strong. They completely suppressed the others and could not fight back. Chapter 1748. There are so many geniuses. Lu Ming was also watching. Any one of these geniuses could easily crush a god's son. If they were in the Kang continent, they would be able to suppress all the geniuses in the continent. However, there were a bunch of them here. This battle lasted for half an hour. In the end, a peak bright sacred realm genius from outside the sacred grounds stepped onto the pavilion first. Although this genius cultivation had reached the peak bright sacred realm, his battle strength was obviously weaker than Wn Tianlong and the others, so he couldn't crush them. It took him a lot of effort to step onto the pavilion. Damn it, the last pavilion will definitely be mine. The 10th Golden Crow Prince didn't step onto the pavilion and was in a bad mood. There was only 1 pavilion left out of the 9. Everyone looked at the last pavilion. Some of the geniuses who hadn't fought before also showed their battle intent, such as Tuoba Fei. When the jade stairs of the 9th pavilion descended, at least a dozen figures rushed towards the jade stairs. Scram! Kill! Loud roars sounded as the geniuses started to fight fiercely. Tuoba Fei also joined in the battle. As long as he was the first to reach the pavilion, he would win and the others would retreat. However, none of the other geniuses were weak and dared to compete. Needless to say, all of them had heavenly spiritual bodies and their cultivation had reached the greater success stage of the bright sacred realm. If they didn't have enough battle strength, they wouldn't be able to step onto the pavilion. Various lights flashed as super skills were unleashed and clashed fiercely. The jade stairs and the pavilion had runes shining on them. The terrifying force was neutralized when it landed on them. Caw! The Golden Crow cried. The 10th Golden Crow Prince turned into the 3-legged Golden Crow. His wings were like blades and he was surrounded by the solar true fire. Normal geniuses of the same level weren't his match. Tuoba Fei was also fighting fiercely, but in the end, he was sent flying by the 10th Golden Crow Prince's claw. He retreated in the air and even his hair was burning. Damn it! Tuoba Fei roared. He was unwilling to give up. Lu Ming and Shu Ran instinctively glanced at Tuoba Fei, but Tuoba Fei saw it. He had just been blasted down and his hair was burnt. He was in a sorry state. When he saw Lu Ming and Shu Ran's gazes, it was as if they were mocking him. He was instantly enraged and vented all his anger on the two of them. What are you looking at? You're just a piece of trash. You don't even dare to compete with me. How ridiculous. Tuoba Fei yelled. He was enraged when he recalled Lu calling him a mad dog. Lu Ming and Shu Ran did not respond. They continued to watch the battle on the Jade Stairs, ignoring Tuoba Fei. Scram, you two trash be an eyesore. Tuoba Fei became even more furious when he saw that the two of them actually dared to ignore him. With a flash, he appeared beside Shu Ran and sent a slap towards Shu Ran. Shu Ran was shocked and quickly retreated, but Tuoba Fei was too fast for him to dodge. At this moment, Lu Ming struck with his palm and collided with Tuoba Fei's palm. Tuoba Fei's body trembled and he felt that the bones in his hand were about to break. He could not help but retreat 2 steps, looking at Lu Ming in horror. He felt that the power in Lu Ming's palm was extremely terrifying, as if it was going to shatter him. You're just a mad dog. How dare you bite people here? I have to teach you a lesson. Lu Ming took a step forward. His palm was like a knife and he blasted it toward Tuoba Fei. His speed was as fast as lightning. A terrifying pressure completely enveloped Tuoba Fei. Tuoba Fei was shocked and took out a sacred weapon to block. However, when Lu Ming's palm landed on the sacred weapon, Tuoba Fei's sacred weapon deformed and exploded. Tuoba Fei's eyes widened. Although a sacred weapon was a sacred weapon, it was extremely sturdy. However, it had been shattered by Lu Ming's palm. Tuoba Fei was shocked. The terrifying power made Tuoba Fei spit out a mouthful of blood as he retreated. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a step forward and instantly appeared above Tuoba Fei's head. He stepped on Tuoba Fei's face. Tuoba Fei screamed miserably. His body was like a cannonball, smashing into the lake. Shu Ran was dumbfounded. Lu Ming's battle strength had completely exceeded his expectations. When he first met Lu Ming in the 100-tribe battlefield, Lu Ming's cultivation was far inferior to his. Although Lu Ming's battle strength was strong, it was still inferior to his. Later on, Lu Ming surpassed him. In the end, when they escaped from the 100-tribe battlefield, although Lu Ming's battle strength was strong, it was still far from what it was now. How long had it been since they last met? Lu Ming could already beat Tuoba Fei like he was a puppy. Even a sacred weapon was shattered by Lu Ming's palm. What kind of battle strength was that? Tuoba Fei couldn't react for a moment. Shu Ran, didn't you want to go up? I'll send you up, Lu Ming said and then stepped towards the 9th pavilion. Shu Ran then came to his senses and instinctively followed Lu Ming. The two of them stepped onto the Jade Stairs one after another. Where did this brat come from? Get lost. On the Jade Stairs, there was a young man who looked like a chimpanzee. His arms were thicker than a person's thigh. He was more than 3 meters tall and punched out. His fist was the size of a human head, and it was aimed at Lu Ming's head. A dull boom resounded in the air. This young man was fighting on the Jade Stairs and didn't see Lu Ming make a move at all. Now, he wanted to blast Lu Ming down with a punch. Lu Ming also punched out. Dong! The two fists collided. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was heard. The young chimpanzee's eyes popped out. His fist had completely exploded. Get lost. Lu Ming stepped forward and slapped out. A huge palm formed and slapped the young chimpanzee down the Jade Stairs. Many onlookers' eyes fell on Lu Ming. This person is so strong. He can easily crush others. Could he be another genius from a sacred ground? I don't think so. He came with Shu Ran from the Blood Jade Palace. Many people were guessing Lu Ming's identity. The geniuses in the other 8 pavilions looked at Lu Ming curiously. Kill! Lu Ming hollered. The power of the soul attack dashed toward the other geniuses on the jade ladder. The bodies of those geniuses trembled violently. Lu Ming then punched them one by one and blasted them down. What a strong soul power! In the first pavilion, Wan Tianlong spoke. However, his voice remained calm. Lu Ming's soul power was not bad and his combat power was quite strong. However, he did not take him seriously. Lu Ming punched down a few geniuses and strode forward. There were still a few geniuses in front of him who stopped fighting and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. The 10th Golden Crow Prince saw Lu Ming and narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect Lu Ming to be so strong. Get lost. Lu Ming casually glanced at the few of them. Without stopping, he strode forward. Everyone, let's work together and knock this kid down. Chapter 1749. Alright, let's team up and defeat this person. We'll fight. Attack. All of a sudden, the other elites and the 10th Golden Crow Prince attacked Lu Ming together. When the few of them joined forces, their powers were extremely terrifying. They used all kinds of skills to destroy Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not even bat an eyelid. His hand shook and slashed out like a blade. Lu Ming's body was surrounded by the power of the law of chaos. His hand seemed to contain a prison-suppressing monument that could suppress everything. Bang! 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 His palm struck down and those magical skills dissipated like bubbles. Lu Ming was like an immortal god of war. He continued to move forward and nothing could touch him. The expressions of the 10th Golden Crow Prince and the others turned unpleasant. They could not do anything to Lu Ming even though they had teamed up. Get lost. Lu Ming said coldly as he continued to attack with his hand. Some of them tried their best to exchange blows with Lu Ming, but their bodies trembled as if they had been electrocuted. They were sent flying and their bones felt like they were about to break. Lu Ming had already gone easy on them. If he attacked with his full strength, they would all die. The 10th Prince was the only one left on the jade stairs. He looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Get lost. Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, this is the ancient moon sacred ground. The Golden Crow clan is in the ancient moon sacred ground. Give me some face and let me have this pavilion. I'll let bygones be bygones. The 10th Prince sent a message to Lu Ming. Give you some face? Who do you think you are? Get lost. Lu Ming shouted. He reached out and grabbed one of the 10th Golden Crow Prince's wings. He swung it and threw the 10th Golden Crow Prince out. The 10th Prince was ridiculous. He could not defeat Lu Ming, so he used the Golden Crow clan to threaten Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not believe that the seniors of the Golden Crow clan would attack him. Therefore, he did not need to be polite to the 10th Prince. Lu Ming. The Golden Crow 10th Prince steadied himself in the distance. He gritted his teeth and glared at Lu Ming. In another pavilion, the 9th Prince's eyes also turned cold. Who was he to call the 10th Prince? What about him? Scolding the 10th Prince was the same as scolding him. The 10th Prince was thrown down the jade stairs. There was no one left on the jade stairs. Shu Ran, let's go. Lu Ming looked at Shu Ran, who was in a daze. He stepped forward and walked into the 9th pavilion with Shu Ran. There were people in all 9 pavilions. Sir, how should I address you? You're truly suppressing the crowd. Little sister admires you. In the 9th pavilion, there was a lady in a long purple dress. Her skin was as fair as jade and she was extremely beautiful. She looked at Lu Ming with her beautiful eyes and smiled sweetly. She was extremely alluring. I'm Lu Ming. Shu Ran. Lu Ming and Shu Ran cupped their fists. I'm Ziling. Please have a seat. Ziling will pour wine for you, Ziling said. Miss Ziling, you're too polite. I'm here to help Brother Shu. Brother Shu admires the Jade Lake Saintess very much. Lu Ming smiled faintly and pushed Shu Ran out. No, I'm just here to broaden my horizons. Shu Ran hurriedly declined. He knew that with his talent, the Jade Lake Saintess would not take a liking to him. He was just here to broaden his horizons and join in the fun. He did not expect to be brought to the pavilion by Lu Ming to sit at the same table as the Jade Lake Saintess. He was at a loss for what to do now. It seems that Ziling's charm is not enough for you to take a liking to me. Ziling sighed. Her eyes were filled with resentment. Ziling was already an outstanding beauty. Coupled with her expression, she was extremely seductive. Any man would be tempted. Miss Ziling, you've misunderstood, Shu Ran hurriedly said. Lu Ming also looked a little embarrassed. Ziling then smiled and said, Ziling was just joking with you. Come, it's our first time meeting. Let Ziling offer you a toast. Lu Ming and Shu Ran raised their wine cups and downed them in one gulp. Ziling was very good at talking. She quickly broke the awkward atmosphere and chatted with Lu Ming and Shu Ran. It was obvious that the Jade Lake Saintess had received special training. Dealing with people was one of them. Otherwise, there would not have been so many peerless geniuses since ancient times who fell for the Jade Lake Saintess's pomegranate skirt. Outside the pavilion, many people were envious. Which genius would not want to drink and chat with the Jade Lake Saintess? It was the same in the other pavilions. They chatted merrily. After 3 rounds of wine, 2 jade tokens appeared in Ziling's hand. She handed them to Lu Ming and Shu Ran. It's getting late. Ziling needs to go back and cultivate. If you have time in the future, you can send Ziling a message or come to the Jade Lake Palace as guest. Lu Ming and Shu Ran received the jade tokens. Of course. Then, Lu Ming will take his leave. Lu Ming cupped his fists and left the pavilion. Shu Ran also left the pavilion, looking a little reluctant. What's wrong? Are you interested? Lu Ming smiled. Sigh, with Miss Ziling's talent, how could she be interested in me? The competition for the position of guardian is not limited to these people. If it's you, Lu Ming, it might be possible. Shu Ran sighed. Of course, it was not that simple to become a guardian. All one had to do was step into a pavilion. Today, the Jade Lake Saintess had come into being and was just making some friends. In the future, they would have to interact more. Moreover, they could still compete with other geniuses. In the end, they would win the heart of the beauty and become the Jade Lake Saintess's guardian. It's impossible for me. Lu Ming smiled. He came here more to ask for help from the sacred ground forces, not to flirt with girls. After the people in the 9 pavilions left, the space rippled again. Then, the 9 pavilions and the Jade Lake Divine Palace disappeared into the void. A small world. Lu Ming whispered. The sacred heart of an emperor-level expert could condense a small world that was like a real world. There were probably many emperor-level experts in the Jade Lake Divine Palace, so it was normal for it to have a small world. In fact, many emperor-level forces did not have the real core. The real core was the small world of the emperor-level expert. It was definitely more mysterious and vast than the mountain and river diagram. After all, the mountain and river diagram was only a treasure refined by an emperor-level expert. Kid, stop right there. Just as the two were about to leave, a cold voice sounded. 2 golden lights flashed and 2 figures appeared in front of Lu Ming. The Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Golden Crow 9th Prince. Kid, how dare you insult the Golden Crow clan? You're courting death. Kneel down and apologize immediately. The Golden Crow 9th Prince said coldly. He was wearing a golden robe and his body was covered in golden flames that distorted the space. I beat up the small one and the big one comes. I wonder if the old one will come after I beat up the big one. Lu Ming curled the corner of his mouth and said contemptuously. Arrogant, do you think you're a match for my 9th brother? Chapter 1750. The 10th Golden Crow Prince shouted. The Golden Crows were proud, let alone their crown prince. As for the Golden Crow 10th Prince, he had repeatedly suffered in the hands of Lu Ming in the 100-clan battlefield. Now that he had broken through to the Saint Realm, he was similarly crushed by Lu Ming. His murderous intent toward Lu Ming was very strong. However, although Lu Ming was strong, he didn't think that Lu Ming could fight against his 9th brother. The 9th Golden Crow Prince had reached the peak of the Bright Saint Realm. His skills were very advanced and he was much stronger than him. He believed that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. It's just a sick bird. I can suppress it with a flip of my hand. Lu Ming said indifferently. Haha, kid, you're very arrogant. I'd like to see if you have the right to be so arrogant. There was a cold glint in the eyes of the Golden Crow Ninth Prince. The flames of the sun on his body were burning fiercely. He was like the son of the sun. His powerful aura suppressed Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was calm and did not feel anything at all. The commotion attracted the attention of the surrounding people. They all looked over. After beating up the small one, the big one comes. The Golden Crows are getting more and more shameless. At this moment, a clear voice sounded. It was clearly a woman's voice. The 9th Golden Crow Prince and the 10th Golden Crow Prince's faces darkened. They looked in the direction of the voice. 2 women stepped through the air and arrived. One of the women was wearing a phoenix dress. Her figure was graceful and her beauty was unparalleled. Huang Ling. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He was about to find Huang Ling and didn't expect to meet her here. The woman beside Huang Ling was wearing a green dress. She had a round face and jade-like skin. She was also very beautiful and wasn't much worse than Huang Ling. The 2 women walked through the air like fairies descending to the mortal world, attracting everyone's attention. Who are these 2 women? They're so beautiful, especially the one in the phoenix dress. She's even more beautiful than the Jade Lake Saintess. Of course. She's the top beauty of the Phoenix Palace, Huang Ling. Of course she's beautiful. The other woman isn't much worse. She's the genius of the Clear Snow Pavilion, Mu Qingxue. Sounds of discussion could be heard from the surroundings. Huang Ling and Mu Qingxue came to Lu Ming's side. What are you looking at? Do you want to eat me? Come at me if you can, Mu Qingxue said sweetly as she glared at the Golden Crow 9th Crown Prince and the 10th Crown Prince. The voice just now was from Mu Qingxue. Huang Ling, Mu Qingxue, could it be that the 2 of you want to meddle in other people's business? The Golden Crow 9th Prince said coldly. Lu Ming is my friend. What do you mean meddling in other people's business? If you want to make a move on him, I naturally have to interfere. Huang Ling said with a smile. The Golden Crow 9th Prince's eyes turned serious. Although Huang Ling's cultivation was weaker than his, only at the great accomplishment of the Bright Saint realm, Huang Ling's physique was extremely terrifying. If they were to really fight, he was not confident. Moreover, Mu Qingxue's battle power was not any weaker than his. If they fought, he would most likely be at a disadvantage. Brat, consider yourself lucky, but you can't be so lucky every time. 10th brother, let's go. With that, the Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Golden Crow 10th Prince turned into 2 beams of golden light and left. Lucky. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not comment. After the Golden Crow 9th Prince and the Golden Crow 10th Prince left, Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming and blinked a few times. She smiled and said, the power of a beauty is really strong. Looks like even heroes can't resist the charms of a beauty and the charm of the Jade Lake Saintess, Lu Ming. Clearly, Huang Ling had seen Lu Ming stepping onto the 9th pavilion and drinking and chatting with the Jade Lake Saintess. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly and said, don't misunderstand. I'm here with Shu Ran. I just happened to lend her a hand. Is that so? Huang Ling pursed her lips and smiled. You're Lu Ming. Mu Qingxue's eyes widened as she sized up Lu Ming. Then she said, Millimeter, you're not bad looking and your battle power is not bad. No wonder Huang Ling misses you and talks about you all the time. Qingxue, don't talk nonsense. I'm not. Huang Ling's smiling face immediately turned red as she glared at Mu Qingxue. Oh, you're not? Then I might have remembered wrongly. Mu Qingxue revealed a sly expression and then laughed coquettishly. Huang Ling's face turned even redder. She quickly changed the topic and asked, Lu Ming, why did you suddenly come to the ancient moon sacred ground? Of course it's because I miss our great beauty Huang Ling. I'm here to see you. Mu Qingxue interjected again. Mu Qingxue obviously liked to joke. Huang Ling's face and neck were red with embarrassment. Lu Ming smiled and said, Great beauty Huang Ling is so beautiful. Naturally, I wanted to come and see you earlier. However, I'm here for other important matters. Oh, what is it? Huang Ling asked. It's about the evil spirit sect. The evil spirit sect has occupied Kang State. Not only Kang State, but also Cloud State and Emperor State. I'm here this time to ask for help from the powerful forces of the ancient moon sacred ground, Lu Ming said. The evil spirit sect. Huang Ling and Mu Qingshue's expressions changed at the same time. Lu Ming, let's go to Phoenix Palace first. We'll talk as we walk, Huang Ling said. Lu Ming nodded, and the four of them immediately headed towards Phoenix Palace. On the way, Lu Ming briefly explained what had happened in Kang State. Huang Ling, I wonder if Phoenix Palace can send experts to destroy the evil spirit sect. Lu Ming finally asked. Huang Ling frowned and said, Lu Ming, according to what you said, the evil spirit sect and the Emperor family worked together to kill Emperor Yun in one fell swoop. I'm afraid they are very powerful. There are at least 2 Emperor-level experts. If Phoenix Palace wants to send people, they will have to send at least 4 or 5 Emperor-level experts. I don't have the authority to send such expert. Lu Ming nodded. He naturally understood this. Emperor-level experts were high and mighty and could dominate a region. How could a mere saintess like Huang Ling order them around? In Phoenix Palace, only the Palace Lord has the authority to do so. Huang Ling continued. How can we meet the Palace Master of Phoenix Palace? Lu Ming asked. The Palace Master has a profound cultivation base and is in seclusion all year round. Even other Emperor-level experts would find it difficult to meet her, let alone me. I have seen her less than 3 times, Huang Ling explained. Such Emperor-level figures were elusive. It was indeed difficult to meet them. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. He had long guessed that it would not be so easy to ask for help from the sacred grounds. The main reason was that he was too weak. It was too difficult to meet those Emperor-level experts unless they took the initiative to meet him. I have a way to let you meet the Palace Master of Phoenix Palace, Mu Qingxue said. What way? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. In a month's time, some saintesses and saints of Phoenix Palace will be entering a phoenix nest to fight for a treasure. If you can help Phoenix Ling obtain that treasure, the Palace Master of Phoenix Palace might summon you. Chapter 1751. Phoenix Nest. Lu Ming was confused. That's right, Lu Ming. In a month's time, the saints and saintesses of Phoenix Palace will enter a destroyed phoenix nest to search for the heart of a parasol tree. Every saintess and saint can invite a few friends to help. I wanted to ask for your help too. If we succeed, we might be able to meet the Palace Master, Huang Ling explained. You're my friend. Even if this didn't happen, I would still help you. However, there are many sky prides in the ancient Moon Holy Land. With my cultivation, I'm afraid I won't be able to help, Lu Ming said. No, because only those at the Bright Saint realm are allowed to enter this time, Huang Ling said. The 4 of them chatted as they walked. Huang Ling also told them about the matter in detail. It turned out that not long ago, the Phoenix Palace had discovered a phoenix nest. Unfortunately, this phoenix nest had been destroyed long ago, and the phoenixes inside were all dead. The elites of Phoenix Palace had entered the phoenix nest to investigate, but they were surrounded by the phoenix spirits and escaped with serious injuries. After many tests, Phoenix Palace discovered that there were many heroic spirits left behind by phoenixes after their deaths in the phoenix nest. These heroic spirits were usually in hibernation, but if an outsider were to enter, they would attack together. The more powerful one was, the more powerful the phoenix spirits would be alerted. Even the Emperor-level elites of Phoenix Palace had to retreat with serious injuries. The weaker one's cultivation was, the less likely it was to alert the powerful phoenix spirits. At most, the weaker ones would be alerted. The elites of Phoenix Palace had also discovered that there was an ancient parasol tree in the phoenix nest that had condensed the heart of a parasol tree. This was a priceless treasure to Phoenix Palace. Therefore, Phoenix Palace decided to send their bright saints and saintesses into the phoenix nest in a month's time to retrieve the heart of a parasol tree. Each of them could invite 3 friends outside of Phoenix Palace to help. In fact, this was a test for the saints and saintesses. If anyone could obtain the heart of a parasol tree, they would be highly regarded by Phoenix Palace and their status would be higher than the other saints and saintesses. The 4 of them chatted as they walked. Not long after, a majestic mountain peak appeared in front of them. This mountain peak was like a phoenix spreading its wings and dancing in the air. It was vivid and lifelike. There were many palaces built on the mountain peak. This was the Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming discovered that the cultivation environment here was better than other places. Lu Ming, Shu Ran, the two of you will live in Phoenix Palace from now on. How about it? Huang Ling said. I couldn't ask for more. Lu Ming said with a smile. Living here was much better than living in an inn. Shu Ran naturally nodded repeatedly. The four of them flew into the Phoenix Palace. Huang Ling arranged a place for Lu Ming to stay. Then, she brought Lu Ming and the others to tour the Phoenix Palace. After a round of sightseeing, the group arrived at Lu Ming's residence, which was a side courtyard. Lu Ming, I will do my best to report the matter regarding the evil spirit sect and see if I can meet the palace master. You can stay here. If you need anything, you can contact me at any time, Huang Ling said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. After Huang Ling and Mu Qingxue left, Lu Ming and Shu Ran each entered a room to cultivate. Time flew by. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming had bitterly cultivated the chaotic tribulation finger. Now, it had reached 18%, and its power had increased again. In a side courtyard of Phoenix Palace, 3 people were gathered. They were Huang Ling, Lu Ming, and Mu Qingxue. Only then did Lu Ming know that Mu Qingxue was also one of the people Huang Ling had invited to help. Qin Yi is really slow. He's still not here. Mu Qingxue snorted. Every saint and saintess could invite 3 friends to help. Now that Lu Ming and Mu Qingxue had arrived, there was still one person missing. Anyway, there's still time. Let's wait a little longer, Huang Ling said. At that moment, Lu Ming looked up at the sky. A young man stepped on the air and arrived. This person was dressed in a white robe and was quite handsome. He stepped on the air and smiled. Huang Ling, I'm sorry for being late. I thought you weren't coming, Mu Qingxue said coldly, as if she was not very interested in this person. Mu Qingxue's attitude did not anger the young man. He still had a smile on his face. He turned to look at Lu Ming and said, Huang Ling, this is? His Lu Ming, Lu Ming. He's called Qin Yi. Huang Ling introduced. So it's brother Lu. Qin Yi cupped his fists. Brother Qin. Lu Ming also cupped his fists. However, he had a feeling that Qin Yi's smile was very fake. Qin Yi sized up Lu Ming and said, Brother Lu, you look very unfamiliar. Are you not from the ancient moon sacred ground? No, I'm from Kang province. Lu Ming said. Kang province. The corner of Qin Yi's mouth twitched slightly, revealing a trace of contempt. Although he quickly hid it, Lu Ming still saw it. May I know what Brother Lu's cultivation is now? Qin Yi asked again. Lu Ming had used the illusory breathing technique to conceal his cultivation aura. Therefore, Qin Yi could not see it. Hey, Qin Yi, you're asking too many questions. Why should I tell you what Lu Ming's cultivation is? Mu Qingxue said unhappily. Qingxue, you're wrong. Since we're a team and we're going to enter the Phoenix Nest together to help Huang Ling complete her mission, we naturally have to understand the cultivation of others. Only then can we work together, right? Qin Yi smiled. His words seemed reasonable and Mu Qingxue was speechless. It's just cultivation. There's nothing to hide. My cultivation is at Bright Saint Initial Success, Lu Ming said. Bright Saint Initial Success. Qin Yi's disdain was even stronger this time. He said, Bright Saint Initial Success. To be honest, it's not enough. Huang Ling, if you can't find any friends, I can introduce you to a few who are at least at Bright Saint Initial Success. Although Qin Yi still had a smile on his face, his contempt was obvious. Huang Ling frowned and showed a trace of displeasure. She said, no need. I believe that Lu Ming's combat strength is not weaker than a Bright Saint Initial Success. He will be of great help. Oh, is that so? Qin Yi's lips curled into a cold smile and he did not say anything else. All right, it's getting late. Let's go, Huang Ling said. Immediately, the 4 of them soared into the sky and soon arrived at a mountain peak. There were already quite a number of people on the mountain peak. Lu Ming scanned the area and discovered that there were 24 people. They were in groups of 4 and were divided into 6 groups. Obviously, they were the other saints and saintesses of Phoenix Palace and their friends. Including Huang Ling's group, there were 7 groups in total. As soon as Lu Ming and the rest arrived, many cold and indifferent gazes looked at them. Millimeter. The 9th Prince of the Golden Crow. Lu Ming glanced around and saw the 9th Prince of the Golden Crow looking at him coldly. Besides, Lu Ming also saw many familiar faces. For example, Wn Tianlong of the Wn clan and the geniuses of the Wilderness Sword Sect. Chapter 1752. There were a total of 28 people in the 7 groups. They sized each other up and revealed their fighting spirit. The atmosphere was tense. Huang Ling, I will definitely be the one to take the heart of the parasol tree. You should give up. A young man looked at Huang Ling and said coldly. He was full of confidence. He was wearing a phoenix robe and was handsome and noble. What a joke. The heart of the parasol tree will definitely be mine. A voice came from the side. It was from a lady. Huang Ling looked calm and did not say a word. The man's name is Huang Kong and the woman's name is Huang Bing. Both of them have the highest cultivation bases among this batch of holy sons and holy maidens. However, their talents can't compare to Huang Ling's. That's why they have been opposing Huang Ling and trying to suppress her. Mu Qingxue transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body and her spiritual body could evolve continuously. She had already evolved to a medium heavenly spiritual body in the 100-tribe battlefield. Ordinary elites could not compare to her. Lu Ming looked around and saw that the helpers that Huang Kong and Huang Bing had invited were very strong. Their auras were strong and hard to predict. For example, the Golden Crow 9th Prince was beside Huang Bing and Wn Tianlong was beside Huang Kong. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At that moment, the sound of air being torn apart could be heard in the sky. 3 old men flew through the air. Greetings, Elder. Huang Ling and the other saints and saintesses of Phoenix Palace bowed. Rise. The leading old man waved his hand and said, Everyone is here. Now, follow us. After the leading old man said that, he flew into the air and the others followed. Soon, they came to a valley. There was a black vortex in the valley and behind the vortex was the phoenix nest. Let's go in. The leading old man said. Let's go. Huang Kong was the first to speak. He rushed into the vortex with his 3 helpers and disappeared. Then, Huang Bing and the others also rushed into the vortex and disappeared. Let's go in too, Huang Ling said. She was the first to rush into the black tortoise. Lu Ming and the others followed closely behind. The moment they rushed into the vortex, they appeared on a mountain peak. They looked up and there was a thick black mist in front of them that obstructed their vision. The others appeared not far away. Swoosh, whoosh. Then, Huang Kong and the others flew forward and disappeared into the thick black fog. According to the experts of Phoenix Palace, the parasol tree is in the depths of the phoenix nest. Huang Ling said. After that, the 4 of them also flew forward. As they flew into the fog, they realized that it was really too thick. Visibility was not high. At the beginning, they could still see the figures of the other saints and saintesses. Later on, those figures completely disappeared. After flying for an unknown period of time, they finally flew out of the area shrouded in fog. Their vision widened, but they did not see the other holy sons, holy daughters, and their helpers. Clearly, flying in the fog, everyone's direction was a little off, and they had long since separated. This place seems to have experienced a terrifying battle, Mu Qingxue exclaimed in surprise. Looking into the distance, one could see many mountains, but most of them had collapsed. Some seemed to have been cut off by a sword, and some seemed to have been smashed by a palm. They even saw huge palm and fist prints on the ground. This phoenix nest should be a small world. I don't know how long ago there was a terrifying battle. Almost all the phoenixes here were slaughtered. Next, we have to be careful. I'm afraid that the phoenix spirit will appear and attack us, Huang Ling said. The four of them concealed their auras and flew forward. They had not flown far when suddenly, the cry of a phoenix resounded through the sky. Then, a phoenix rushed out from the ground. This phoenix did not seem to have a physical body. Instead, it was a black shadow. Its eyes were filled with intense resentment as it pounced toward the four of them. Mu Qingxue shouted and struck out with her palm. A terrifying cold wave rushed out and sent the phoenix spirit flying. However, the phoenix spirit roared again and rushed toward Mu Qingxue. Cold wave sword, slash. Mu Qingxue shouted and clenched her fist. A terrifying cold wave appeared and condensed into a long sword. With a slash, the phoenix spirit was split into two. It turned into wisps of black smoke and rushed into the ground, disappearing. Divine power art. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Mu Qingxue had used a divine power art. Mu Qingxue's cultivation was also very high. She had reached the peak of the bright sage realm. Her divine power art was profound and her combat power was strong. No wonder the Golden Crow Ninth Prince was so afraid and left directly. After destroying a phoenix spirit, the four of them sped up and rushed forward. However, not long after, another phoenix cry sounded. This time, several phoenix spirits appeared and pounced toward the four of them. Those with weak cultivation, stand back. Don't get in the way. Qin Yi glanced coldly at Lu Ming, then stepped forward and charged toward the phoenix spirits. Qin Yi's combat power was not weaker than Mu Qingxue's. No wonder he was so arrogant. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Since he was not asked to do anything, he could not be bothered to do anything. He stood beside Huang Ling. Mu Qingxue and Qin Yi joined forces and quickly destroyed a few phoenix spirits. The four of them continued forward, but more and more phoenix spirits appeared. Mu Qingxue and Qin Yi found it more and more difficult to deal with them. Chen-ph, Huang Ling is really something. She invited a piece of trash. Otherwise, with an expert, we would have an easier time. Seeing more and more phoenix spirits, Qin Yi's face became uglier and uglier. He began to not hide his thoughts and mocked. However, at this time, a huge phoenix spirit appeared. This phoenix spirit was exceptionally huge, several times larger than the other phoenix spirits. Its aura was extremely strong and terrifying. It screamed and pounced toward Qin Yi. Qin Yi unleashed all his strength and blasted out a huge palm print toward the phoenix spirit. However, the phoenix spirit's claws were unparalleled. With a claw, it destroyed Qin Yi's palm print. Its wings were like blades and slashed toward Qin Yi. Qin Yi's face changed drastically. He took out a sacred weapon to block, but his entire body was sent flying. His face was pale and he almost vomited blood. This phoenix spirit is too strong. We can't fight it. Let's leave this place first and take a detour, Qin Yi suggested. Detour? In my opinion, there are such powerful phoenix spirits everywhere. If we can't break through here, other places will be the same, Lu Ming said. Shut up. What right does a piece of trash like you have to speak? We are fighting. What are you doing? Qin Yi shouted coldly. At this time, the powerful phoenix spirit pounced toward Qin Yi again. Qin Yi's face changed drastically. He turned around and ran, shouting, "Listen to me. Take a detour. Even if we join forces, we are no match for it." Qin Yi's speed was very fast. As soon as he ran, the huge phoenix hero spirit pounced on phoenix spirit and Lu Ming. Huang Ling, be careful. Mu Qingxue shouted. She wanted to rush over to help, but it was too late. Chapter 1753. Huang Ling would not retreat. Her thoughts were the same as Lu Ming's. There were phoenix spirits everywhere in this place. There might be stronger spirits in other places. They could only rush over. If they could not even rush over here, how could they compete with the other saints and saintesses? Let me. At this time, Lu Ming spoke and stepped out. A powerful aura surged from Lu Ming's body. Then, his palm slashed out like a knife toward the sharp claws of the phoenix spirit. A bright sage initial level wants to take on the phoenix spirit head-on. You are ridiculous. You are courting death. In the distance, Qin Yi sneered. However, in the next moment, his smile disappeared. Bam! Lu Ming's palm collided with the sharp claws of the phoenix spirit. However, the phoenix spirit's body was sent flying. Then, Lu Ming stepped out and a huge chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his palm. It was as big as a mountain and pressed down on the phoenix spirit. Although the chaotic flipping sky seal was only a territorial martial technique, when Lu Ming used it with his current cultivation, its power was still terrifying. Boom! The chaotic flipping sky seal pressed down on the phoenix spirit. The phoenix spirit trembled and cried out continuously. Lu Ming's hands did not stop. The chaotic flipping sky seal continued to condense and attack the phoenix spirit. After 5 to 6 consecutive attacks, the phoenix spirit finally could not take it anymore. It exploded with a bang and turned into black smoke. In the distance, Qin Yi's expression froze. Then, it became extremely gloomy. Lu Ming's combat strength was so strong. He was only a bright sage initial level, but he could suppress the phoenix spirit. Was his combat strength not stronger than Qin Yi's? In Qin Yi's opinion, he was no match for the phoenix spirit. Now, Lu Ming could kill the phoenix spirit. Wasn't that a slap to his face? Especially in front of the two beauties, Huang Ling and Mu Qingxue. A cold light flashed in Qin Yi's eyes. Huang Ling and Mu Qingxue were stunned. This guy's combat strength has become stronger, Huang Ling muttered. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside Mu Qingxue, helping her deal with the other phoenix spirits. These phoenix spirits were much weaker, so how could they be a match for Lu Ming? He took out one phoenix spirit after another, and they were quickly wiped out. Let's go. Lu Ming said to Huang Ling. Lu Ming, what do you mean? You clearly have such powerful combat strength, so why didn't you make a move just now? Were you deliberately waiting for us to be unable to resist before making a move to show off your strength? You are disregarding the safety of others. Qin Yi flew back and scolded with a gloomy face. Didn't you tell me not to make a move just now? Moreover, the one who wanted to show off was you, right? Of course, I had to give you the chance. Unfortunately, I didn't expect you to be a piece of trash. Lu Ming said calmly. What did you say? Qin Yi's expression became even gloomier. Lu Ming actually dared to call him trash? Isn't that so? Also, to borrow your words, trash, stand at the back and don't make a move, lest you get in the way. Lu Ming sneered and then stepped forward. Mu Qingxue let out a crisp laugh and looked at Qin Yi with disdain. Then, she and Huang Ling followed Lu Ming and moved forward. Qin Yi clenched his fists tightly and a shocking murderous intent burst out from his eyes. Lu Ming actually dared to humiliate him. He was just a person from Kang State and he actually dared to humiliate him, a supreme talent of a sacred ground force. He was simply courting death. Qin Yi's eyes darted around a few times before he followed Lu Ming and the rest and moved forward. Then, more phoenix spirits appeared. However, with Lu Ming taking the lead, these phoenix spirits couldn't stop them at all and they quickly rushed forward. Half an hour later, they had flown for tens of thousands of miles and finally, no more phoenix spirits appeared. Without the appearance of any phoenix spirits, their speed increased sharply and they turned into 4 streams of light that cut across the sky. After flying for an unknown distance, a towering ancient tree appeared in front of the 4 of them. Is that the ancient parasol tree? It's actually rooted in the void. Looking at the towering tree in front of them, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with shock. That ancient tree was so huge that it blotted out the sky. It was unknown how tall it was, but the most shocking thing was that the roots of the ancient tree were actually rooted in the void. It was as if a towering ancient tree had grown out of the void. This scene was really shocking. Huang Ling was slightly better as she seemed to have already known about it. However, Mu Qingxue and Qin Yi were also a little dumbfounded. That's the ancient parasol tree. The heart of the parasol tree is up there. Let's go. Huang Ling said and took the lead to fly forward. Not long after, they slowly approached the ancient parasol tree. The closer they got, the more they felt that the ancient parasol tree was huge. It was as if it could hold up a world. Below the ancient parasol tree, there was a very majestic mountain that pierced through the sky. The top of the mountain was near the roots of the ancient parasol tree. When they arrived, They realized that they couldn't fly up as they were obstructed by a powerful force. What's going on? How can we go up the ancient parasol tree if we can't fly up? Mu Qingxue was puzzled. That mountain goes straight to the roots of the ancient parasol tree. Could it be that we go up from there? Lu Ming said. Let's go and take a look. Huang Ling said, and the four of them flew forward. Whoosh, whoosh. At that moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from other directions. There were also people flying toward the mountain. Huang Kong, Huang Bing, Huang Xian, Huang Ling whispered. In addition to them, there were 3 other saints. The saints brought their people here. The 4 of them arrived at the mountain almost at the same time. There was a jade staircase on the mountain that led from the foot of the mountain to the top. At the foot of the mountain, there was a stone tablet with a line of words written on it. If you want to go up the parasol tree, you have to go up this staircase. It was obvious that if they wanted to step on the ancient parasol tree, they had to climb up the jade staircase to the top of the mountain. Then, they had to obtain the heart of the parasol tree from the top of the mountain. The 4 of them moved almost at the same time and rushed toward the jade staircase. Lu Ming rushed up the jade staircase and took a step. His body was as light as a swallow as he rushed toward the top of the mountain. Qin Yi and Mu Qingxue did the same. However, when Lu Ming looked at them, he realized that something was wrong. Huang Ling's body was glowing as if she was under great pressure and was climbing up with difficulty. Not only her, but Huang Kong, Huang Bing, and Huang Xian were also in the same situation. They seemed to be under great pressure and it was extremely difficult for them to climb up. Other than the 4 of them, the rest of the people who came to help seemed to be very relaxed. At that moment, the rest of the people also noticed this strange scene and all of them stopped. How could this be? This jade staircase will form a powerful pressure on those who cultivate the phoenix physique, Huang Kong said. This might have been built a long time ago to test the younger generation of the Phoenix clan, Huang Ling said. Chapter 1754. Huang Bing, I will get the heart of the parasol tree for you, the 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe said. He then turned into a ray of golden light and rushed up the jade stairs. The heart of the parasol tree is mine, Wn Tianlong, who was beside Huang Kong, said as he rushed up the stairs. Then, Mu Qingxue, Qin Yi, and the others rushed up the jade stairs, afraid that they would be too slow. Lu Ming did not move. He felt that it was not that simple. If the jade stairs were really a test for the younger generation of the Phoenix tribe, it would be useless for the others to go up. Lu Ming was not the only one who did not move. The great Baron Sword Sect disciple beside Huang Bing also did not move. He carried his sword and stood beside Huang Bing. Huang Ling, Huang Bing, Huang Kong, and Huang Xian were doing their best to climb up. Mu Qingxue, the 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe, and the others came down from the peak. We can't go up the ancient parasol tree. There is a powerful force stopping us, Mu Qingxue said. According to my guess, it's very likely that only those with the phoenix physique can ascend the parasol tree and obtain the heart of the parasol tree after passing the test. Lu Ming guessed. That's possible. Mu Qingxue nodded. The others also thought of the same thing and stood behind Huang Kong, Huang Bing, and the others. Now, Huang Ling and the others could only rely on themselves. Whoever reached the peak first would obtain the heart of the parasol tree. Huang Ling and the others walked up step by step. However, their speed was very slow. It seemed that the higher they went, the greater the pressure they felt. There are too many people here. I think we should let some go down. The 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe's eyes shone with golden light as he looked at Huang Ling and Lu Ming. I also think that there are too many people. Why don't we get rid of some? Another young man beside the 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe said. Bam! Bam! The 2 of them stepped out and walked toward Lu Ming and the others. Only the great Baron Sword Sect genius did not move. Gah! The 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe transformed into his true form. His body was covered in the divine sun flame and his wings were like blades as he slashed at Lu Ming. The other person blasted towards Huang Ling. As long as he could knock Huang Ling off the jade staircase or even injure her, he would be able to get rid of one opponent for Huang Bing. Huang Ling was trying her best to resist the pressure from the jade stairs and could not resist at all. Scram! Mu Qingxue shouted. She fought against that genius and blocked that person. On the other hand, Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he struck the ninth prince's wings with his palm. Clang! The sound of metal striking metal rang out. The Golden Crow ninth prince's wings were tougher than ordinary saint weapons, but Lu Ming's attack could even split a saint weapon. Lu Ming's attack directly broke through the ninth prince's Grand Sun divine fire. The terrifying power of the hell-suppressing heavenly art surged towards the Golden Crow's wings. The ninth prince's body trembled as if he was electrocuted, and he quickly retracted his wings. Sick bird, I'll pluck all your feathers today, Lu Ming shouted coldly. He stepped forward and used the hell-suppressing heavenly art. His palm was like a knife that continuously struck the ninth prince. The ninth prince roared and flapped his wings wildly. Two suns formed on his wings, completely formed by the Grand Sun divine fire. They were extremely powerful and blasted towards Lu Ming. But Lu Ming ignored him. He stepped forward and used the law of chaos. He used the hell-suppressing heavenly art and struck out with his two palms. Bam! Bam! The two suns formed by the Grand Sun divine fire exploded. Lu Ming rushed over and continuously struck the ninth prince's wings with his palms. The ninth prince's body shook violently. He could not resist Lu Ming's terrifying power at all. After a few moves, the golden feathers on his wings fluttered and were continuously struck down by Lu Ming. Huang Jian, what are you waiting for? The Golden Crow ninth prince roared furiously. Whoosh! A visible sword light cut through the void and slashed towards Lu Ming. The sword light was black, but it was extremely sharp and terrifying. Bam! Lu Ming suddenly stepped forward and broke the ninth prince's defense with his palms. He grabbed one of the ninth prince's legs and swung it towards the sword light. The sword light slashed down and blood spurted out. The sky was filled with golden feathers. One of the ninth prince's wings was almost chopped off. Although it was not chopped off in the end, only half of it was hanging on it. It was a horrible sight. Lu Ming, I will kill you. The ninth prince roared crazily. He was like a chick that was about to be slaughtered and kept flapping in Lu Ming's hands. I didn't chop you. Why are you shouting at me so fiercely? Lu Ming grinned. He grabbed the injured wing of the Golden Crow ninth prince with his other hand and tore it forcefully. The Golden Crow ninth prince gasped a breath of cold air and let out a shrill scream. Let him go. The elite of the Great Baron Sword sect stepped forward and stabbed Lu Ming with his sword-like eyes. Go ahead, but be careful. Don't kill this sick bird, Lu Ming said. The elite of the Great Baron Sword sect was extremely powerful. He had reached the great circle of the Bright Sage realm and was much more powerful than the ninth prince. Clang! The elite of the Great Baron Sword sect unsheathed his sword. It was a metal sword. The metal sword flew across the sky and slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw the Golden Crow ninth prince at him. The eyes of the Great Baron Sword sect's elite narrowed. He put away his iron sword and slapped with his other hand, forming a huge palm print and blocking the Golden Crow ninth prince. Huang Jian, kill that brat. The ninth prince roared. Back off. Huang Jian's words were simple. After that, he returned to Huang Bing's side. Lu Ming gave him a strong sense of pressure. He felt that he was not confident in defeating Lu Ming. Lu Ming, remember this. The ninth prince looked at Lu Ming coldly and returned to Huang Bing's side. He bathed in the divine sun fire and started to recover from his injuries. The elite who was fighting with Mu Qingxue also retreated. Wen Tianlong and the other elites looked at Lu Ming seriously. Lu Ming was so powerful that he could defeat the ninth prince. The ninth prince was at the peak of the Bright Sage realm and was a divine beast. He was born with the power of the Bright Sage realm and could use the Bright Sun superpower. His combat strength was no weaker than theirs. However, he was beaten up badly by Lu Ming. The people around them quietened down and waited for Huang Ling, Huang Bing, Huang Kong, and Huang Xian to fight. The four of them shone brightly and formed the shadows of phoenixes of different colors. They tried their best to resist the pressure of the jade stairs and slowly climbed up. At first, the four of them were walking side by side. However, Huang Xian was soon at a disadvantage and was overtaken by Huang Ling and the other two. Huang Xian was unwilling to give up. She tried her best to catch up, but the distance between her and the three of them was increasing. Huang Ling, Huang Kong, and Huang Bing were walking side by side. Chapter 1755. Bam! 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 The three of them climbed one step at a time. Every step they took caused the jade staircase to creak. Phoenix cries could be heard from the three of them. Huang Ling was bathed in the undying flame as though she was about to turn into an undying phoenix. Gradually, Huang Ling took the lead and surpassed Huang Bing and Huang Kong. Huang Bing and Huang Kong's faces darkened. They were unwilling to admit defeat. Were they going to lose to Huang Ling and let her obtain the heart of the parasol tree? They knew very well that this mission was a test from the upper echelons of Phoenix Palace. The Palace Lord would pay close attention to it. Whoever won would be able to suppress the other saints and saintesses. They would be valued and receive more resources in the future. Only then would they have the capital to challenge the stronger saints and saintesses. For a powerful faction like Phoenix Palace, there were too many geniuses. In every generation, there would be a saint and saint. How many geniuses would there be from generation to generation? If they wanted to stand at the top and compete for the position of the palace master, they would have to surpass all the other geniuses. Now, if the 7 saints and saintesses were unable to come out on top, they would be relegated to supporting roles in the future and would not be able to compete for the position of the palace master. Unless they had a heaven-defying opportunity in the future. Time passed slowly. Huang Ling's lead became more obvious and she was getting closer to the top of the mountain. The 9th prince, Wn Tianlong, Huang Jian, and the other geniuses did not look too good. After all, they had been invited by Huang Kong and Huang Bing to help. Naturally, they would want to help them come out on top. This way, they would be proud. Huang Kong and Huang Bing looked at each other. Then, a vicious look flashed in their eyes. Let's team up and knock Huang Ling down first. Then, we can compete. What do you think? Huang Kong sent a voice transmission to Huang Bing. All right, I have the same idea. I will send a voice transmission to Huang Jian and the rest. Huang Bing nodded. Then, she sent a voice transmission to Huang Jian and the 9th prince. She planned to team up with Huang Kong to deal with Huang Ling first. At the same time, Huang Kong sent a voice transmission to the 3 geniuses he had invited. The 9th prince's eyes lit up and a cold killing intent flashed in them. Beside Huang Kong, Wn Tianlong and the other geniuses looked at Lu Ming and the rest and nodded silently. Then, in a flash, 6 sky prides charged towards Lu Ming and the others. Oh no, Huang Kong and Huang Bing have joined forces to deal with Huang Ling first. Mu Qingxue exclaimed. It wasn't hard to guess what was going on. Guard the phoenix spirit well. The 2 of you guard the left and right sides. I'll guard the bottom, Lu Ming said. He stood behind Huang Ling, looking down at the Golden Crow 9th prince and the others. Get out of here. The Golden Crow 9th prince glanced at Lu Ming. In the end, he did not dare to fight and charged towards Qin Yi. The other Sky Pride charged towards Mu Qingxue. As for Huang Jian, Wn Tianlong, and the other 3, they attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming's combat strength was the strongest. As long as he dealt with Lu Ming first, the rest would be easy to handle. Clang! Huang Jian's iron sword was unsheathed and slashed through the void, making a terrifying whistling sound as it slashed towards Lu Ming. At the same time, Wn Tianlong's body was covered in light, and sacred weapons appeared one after another. There was a total of 72 sacred weapons, and one of them was a great sacred weapon. The aura of the sacred weapons gathered together, and its power was extremely shocking. It charged towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. It wasn't Wn Tianlong, but another young man in a purple robe. This person was actually at the great circle of the bright sage realm, just like Huang Jian. He was extremely powerful, and a terrifying giant snake charged towards Lu Ming with a palm strike. 2 Great Circle of the Bright Sage Realm, and 2 Peak Bright Sage Realm. The 4 of them joined forces, and their power was terrifying. They were going to kill Lu Ming. Back in Sangzhou, Lu Ming had used all his strength to kill a great saint in the initial stage. However, that was only an ordinary great saint. Now, these 4 people weren't ordinary saints, but all of them were elites. They were existences with heavenly spiritual bodies, and their divine skills were even more powerful. Each of them was someone who could fight against those above their level. For example, Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe. Although they were at the Great Circle of the Bright Sage Realm, their combat strength might not be weaker than the great saint in Sangzhou. Kill. Lu Ming let out a loud roar and cast the divine sword art. Sword gleams pierced through his eyes continuously. Huang Jian and the other 3 shuddered, but Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe recovered in an instant. They didn't stop attacking, and charged towards Lu Ming. Only Wen Tianlong and the other person were affected more. What a strong soul power! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. These elites couldn't be judged by common sense. Not only were their combat strength strong, but their soul power was also stronger than ordinary people. Most of them had treasures that could defend their soul. Lu Ming's divine sword art didn't affect them much. Fight. Lu Ming executed the hell-suppressing heaven skill, and threw out a few palm strikes. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming destroyed Huang Jian's sword light and the young man in a purple robe's attack, but his body couldn't help but tremble. However, immediately after, Desolate Sword and the others launched even more berserk attacks. What they used were all divine abilities. Divine skills at 30% completion. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe's divine skills had reached 30% completion, and their power was extremely terrifying and destructive. Although Wen Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe were weaker, they were still a threat to Lu Ming. Chaotic Calamity Finger. Lu Ming executed the Chaotic Calamity Finger for the first time, and he struck out 4 fingers consecutively. 4 huge fingers in the color of chaos, containing destructive power, pointed towards the 4 people. Bam! 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 The 4 people's attacks were instantly destroyed. Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe shuddered, and they took a few steps back. As for Wen Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe, they spat out mouthfuls of blood. Although the Chaotic Calamity Finger was only at 18% completion, its power was more powerful than the 30% completion of a divine skill that was cultivated from an ordinary law. The law of chaos. Could he be the son of chaos? Huang Jian's eyes were filled with shock as he recognized Lu Ming's law. So what if he is the son of chaos? He hasn't matured yet, and I will still kill him. The young man in a purple robe shouted, and purple light burst out. He waved his hands continuously, and huge purple snakes pounced towards Lu Ming. The 2 of you, go and deal with Huang Ling, leave Lu Ming to us, Huang Jian said to Wen Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe. All right. Wen Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe nodded. They planned to go around Lu Ming and charge towards Huang Ling. Stay here. Lu Ming shouted. His glabella shone and the Tai Chi array disc floated out. Then, the Tai Chi diagram appeared and turned into yin-yang fish swords. They charged towards Wen Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe, blocking their path. At the same time, he executed the Chaotic Calamity Finger and fought against Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe. Lu Ming alone blocked the 4 supreme talents, preventing them from getting close to Huang Ling. The rest of the people were shocked, especially Huang Kong and Huang Bing, who could not keep calm. They had never seen Lu Ming before. Which force was he from? His combat strength was too terrifying. He was only at the initial mastery of the Bright Saint realm, but his combat strength was simply heaven-defying. He could actually fight against the 4 supreme geniuses. Moreover, the law that he controlled seemed to be the legendary law of chaos. Could he really be the son of chaos? You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,